Welcome to A Healthy Bite. You're one nibble closer to a more satisfying way of life, a healthier you, and bite-sized bits of healthy motivation. Now let's dig in on the dish with Rebecca Huff.
Hey, it's Rebecca, and today I'm super excited about this conversation because I am talking to my friend Shannon Koval, and Shannon came up with a really brilliant idea that solved a huge problem for me. So make sure you listen all the way to the end of this podcast because you're going to get a bunch of great details about how it could possibly solve a problem for you as well. So Shannon, tell me a little bit about yourself and why you started this company, also the name of the company.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Shannon, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have 6 children. They're all biological, and 4 of them are girls, and 2 of them are boys, and we had them in that order. And now I have 2 grandbabies, and they're both girls. So we're definitely girl dominant, and I've been a stay-at-home mom since the very beginning, and I birthed them all naturally. I have breastfed them and just been through many seasons with the girls.
Oh, I love that. And that's why you named it Seasons of Sisters?
Yes, because I was just thinking, all throughout our lives, our cycles is something that connects us all together, all throughout time and history, no matter our race or anything. And so we're all in a different season, and it's just been really fun watching my girls through all the seasons. And then I've learned a lot through my seasons, and I just really had a heart to start helping girls and women as a whole just enjoy their season, make each season more enjoyable.
Oh, I love that. Well, we were talking the other day because I had a situation where I also have 4 daughters. And, it was coming up time for me to have the kind of the talk with my youngest daughter. And I was really dreading it and putting it off because not that I was uncomfortable with having the conversation with her, but more that I just didn't want it to be time for that conversation. And you
Right.
introduced me to your box. What do you call the box that you sent me?
This box that I sent you is the Welcome to Womanhood box, because that's the very first box for a girl's very first period.
Right. And can you tell me the story about you had a friend that you sent this to, or maybe it was a customer? Can you tell me that story?
Yes, I am a part of a homeschool co-op, and so it's a wonderful group of women. And so we discuss all types of situations that come up, and she was explaining to me that she was just like you, and she was nervous. This was going to be her first daughter that ever started, and she had just been thinking about it for a long time and wondering how she was going to bring up the conversation. And I talked to her about the box and got it for her. She was basically my first customer because I had this idea for a long time. But as we got to talking and I saw that it was a need with other women, we just got really excited, and I just put this box together, and she just could not quit talking about it enough. And her daughter was so excited when she got the box, and it opened up all kinds of communication and questions. And her daughter had been dreading starting. She was really excited about it then. And she said, I know my daughter loved the box because I was in the other room and one of her friends came to visit. And she was in there. She said, I heard them discussing the box. And her friend said, I want a box like that. And she was showing her all the things in the box. And so that just brought me so much joy. And I just love being able to help get girls excited about it, because it does seem like it is a topic of dread, and you hear a lot of negative about your period, and you hear girls complain about it. And so I think girls are nervous, like wanting to know what to expect and when is it going to happen, especially if you're in school. And I remember being young and in school and just wondering, is today going to be the day? Is this going to be the week? Am I going to be in gym class, or where am I going to be at? And I don't know that every mom, every daughter, every girl has a mom. Some have single dads. And so I just thought that this would be a great opportunity for a dad to give their daughter also. And one of my other customers, the daughter did share everything with her dad. He went through the whole box with her, and it just really opened up the line of communication at a young age and help the dad be involved too. But this is not just something that a mom could give their daughter. It could be a single parent, it could be an aunt, it could be a grandparent if you're raising your daughter.
Or even a sister for her younger sister. I think
Exactly.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's really good. And I just loved how it turns something that I think a lot of moms kind of have apprehension about, or, it's just like one of those things, you need to talk about it, but talking about it makes somehow them grow up a little bit in your mind.
Right.
And yeah, so I had actually really been dreading it. And when I found that you had came up with this, I thought, this is the best idea ever. This is a need that a lot of us moms have had. And I think it turns this into like a girl starting her first cycle. It turns it into a celebration instead of something
Right.
that's like, oh, the dreaded thing. I know when I was young, my sister started before me, and I was just like, oh wow, that sounds awful. I dread
Right.
that. And so yeah, I think there's a lot of apprehension, but your box is absolutely adorable. It's got everything that you need. I love the little letter that you put in there, and then you have a little period tracker in the box. I just thought it was so beautifully done, and any girl would love to have it. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the things that might be in one of these boxes?
Absolutely. That makes me feel so good because when I designed the box, I tried to think of, whenever you get a gift, I think the presentation matters a lot in how you feel. And so I just really tried hard to design the box to where you would feel so special and so beautiful when you opened it up. And I know that how you start out at the beginning sets the tone for the rest of your life on how you view things. And so why do people view things as bad? Because it causes discomfort and headaches and backaches and nausea. And so I thought if I could eliminate a lot of those things and from the very beginning change a girl's mindset instead of dreading it, they could view it as a time, oh, good, this is my time to relax and be gentler on my body and use some different pampering products that maybe I'm not used to using, because I do feel like self-care is so important, and it's not a selfish thing to take care of yourself. It's actually, it helps you be a better person to be able to take care of others. So I feel like if you are taking care of yourself and taking that time to relax, and a lot of us don't do that, and that was another motive behind the box. But one of the moms that was visiting with me was saying that her daughter had had some symptoms. Your body starts having symptoms before you ever start. And so I thought the idea of the period tracker, which is here on the lid of the box, and I laminated it so you can take it off and you can make a copy of it, or you could use a white cloth pen, whatever a girl likes to use. I'm a visual person. I grew up in the paper age. I like paper. I like printout. But this is a different day and age, and some girls may want to use an app. And I'm going to put some on my blog, on my website, different apps that have the highest rating that would be the most user friendly. But I actually love this, especially when a girl is first starting. The reason I like it is because it shows every single month of the year. And so you can begin to see your pattern. And why this is important is I remember that I didn't realize that I had a mood pattern until after I got married. I started taking the pill. And when I started taking the pill, I was like, ooh, during this time of the month, I'm really grouchy. And I never knew that about myself, that it was a pattern. And because nobody told me what PMS was. And so then when I started realizing that that was the time I started getting grouchy, I was more on guard. And then I tried to relax more and knowing it's going to pass. But I didn't know anything about herbs, and I didn't know anything about essential oils, and I definitely didn't know anything about harmful toxins and things like that. I didn't know how to eat or take care of myself. I did exercise, but that was just about all that I was doing. So this tracker here is honestly not just for you to keep track of your cycles, but as I will explain more on a detailed video on my website of what to expect, the body changes. You may not want to go through that now, but body changes leading up to when you start, And normally it does take a girl about 2 years to get regular. And so this also helps because if she goes in for her appointment with the gynecologist, they're going to ask you, what are your cycles and how long do they last? And this way you can see it all at a glance for the whole year. And, usually it's not going to follow a great pattern at first. But if a girl can learn in the very beginning to start tracking her cycles, it will help her even throughout her childbearing years because she can understand fertility better. And that can solve the problem of knowing when you're fertile, whether you're wanting to avoid pregnancy or whether you're wanting to conceive. It can help. So that was the whole idea on the period tracker, just a visual where, and an app, I don't know that you can see the whole year at a glance. And I thought that this would be easier for a girl to keep. And that's why I wanted to make it versatile to where she could either use a wipe off pen or she could copy it, fold it up, keep it in her purse. I don't know, tape it to the inside of your bathroom cabinet, put it in a notebook, whatever she wanted to do. But it will be very useful later on if she learns to start. And that way also, if anything abnormal came up in her body, she would know, like, this is not normal.
Right.
For me, my pattern,
Yeah.
because every girl is different. We all have different symptoms, different cycles, and all of our bodies are different.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I love the tracker. So what are some of the items that you have there in the box?
Well, first off, I think one of the most important things is your little bag that I bought for a girl to put in her backpack or her purse. And I do have different sizes in the bag, and I've bought different sizes, and almost every girl has chosen the smaller bag that they like better. Some girls don't even carry a purse. They carry a backpack or a gym bag or something like that. And so this little bag here is going to be for them to carry their supplies in. One of the first items is the calm drink, because magnesium, I don't know if everybody knows about magnesium, but it's a muscle relaxer. And that's what cramps are, is your muscles tightening up, and that's what causes the pain. This drink works really quick, and it's portable. You can use it anywhere. And so you just add a little bit of warm water and drink it down, and this works really, really fast. And so she can keep this in her purse. And this is, for the working woman also. This is not just for the girl that's just started. This is for all women that are experiencing cycles. The magnesium drinks helps a lot. And then I have natural wipes. These just help you feel cleaner and fresher. And then, of course, with your first time period box, I put in panty liners and pads, no tampons. Because when you first start, you're not bleeding very heavy, and it takes a while for you to start getting regular. And most girls don't just start out right away with a really heavy period. And so I just put the pads in at first for them to get used to using the products. And then the little pampering gift is a lip scrub and a lip balm to make your lips feel very smooth and shiny. And peppermint is a lip plumper. The next item is a little purse-sized deodorant, because a lot of times you can put deodorant on in the mornings, but then in the afternoon you're all sweaty and stinky again, especially as your hormones are changing. And that can be really embarrassing for a girl who's not used to experiencing body odor, and now all of a sudden you're starting to have odor. And so I know I wanted to put in a natural deodorant, one that didn't contain aluminum or harmful chemicals, because I wanted a girl to start out using natural products in the very beginning. And that way she's not using toxins. And also I heard a really interesting fact. I thought this surprised me, but during a girl's lifetime cycle, they use anywhere from 11,000 to 16,000 products, whether that's pads or tampons, throughout their cycles. So you can imagine how important it is in the very beginning to start using natural products. Why I chose the organic pads and tampons is because maybe not everybody knows, but the regular tampons have been bleached and they contain cancer known toxins. It can disrupt your hormones. It can affect your fertility later.
Right.
And toxic shock syndrome, of course, is an issue. But the better you take care of your womb, the better that you will feel later, the better environment you're creating for your baby in the future. And so it's very important to me, and I know to you, to use natural chemical-free products. And the next product is a feminine wash. And I put this in here just because if you use regular soap or even a liquid soap that causes chemicals, it can disrupt your bacteria, your natural bacteria, which can make you smell even worse. So I use lavender oil and witch hazel, which is an astringent and also helps. It just has a anti-swelling effect, cooling effect. And so I just included the wash just for them to use during that time of the month. Another one of my favorite things is a portable heat pack. Because when me and the girls are at home, we'll just warm up one of the corn bags, stick them in the microwave, and use that. But when you're out and you're experiencing pain, these heat packs work really great. You can use them on your stomach or you can use them on your back. And the only thing about these is they take a long time to warm up. Like you have to take them out of the package and even take the sticking off. Let it set out for 30 minutes, and then it'll stay hot for all day. It'll just keep getting warmer. But these work really good for when you're out and about. Nobody would ever even know that you have a heat pack on because they're so thin. The next product is the cramp balm. And at first I had put it in a little tin, and I thought girls aren't going to want to dig their fingers down in there when they're out in the go. This is so discreet that you can go in the restroom and you can rub this on either your back or your stomach, keep it in your backpack. The only thing is you can't keep it out in the sun because it is heat sensitive, because it melts when you put it on your skin, to rub in. But it contains all kinds of essential oils that I've done research that help with all types of problems as far as backache, cramping, hormone balance. I even put essential oils in there that help with depression and mood swings and anxiety. And so this is really, really, really helpful.
Yeah, I need some of that.
My tea. Here's my tea. Do you see my little tea bag? I thought this was so cute.
No, it is. It's adorable.
Yeah, this bag here this ink here is waterproof. And so you just stick your 2 teaspoons of tea down in the bag and you steep the bag, and you can reuse this over and over. Or if somebody wanted to make it more in bulk, they could make it and strain it out, whatever. But my daughters love this tea, and they just add a little bit of healthy sweetener, either honey or stevia with it. And one of my daughters drinks it with no sweetener at all. But you could drink this tea all month long, and it would help to balance your hormones.
It smells amazing.
It's really good, and it contains red raspberry, and red raspberry is one of the most important herbs for women, even all throughout your life. It helps menopause, it helps during the childbearing years. It's like the #1 women's herb.
Right.
And back to when I was younger, and I have a couple more items to talk about, but I just remember when I was in the 8th grade, I was a late bloomer, so I started late. And I remember feeling these feelings of depression. And even I never struggled with thinking I'm going to kill myself, but I do remember struggling with feelings like, what is even the purpose of living? I'm just not happy. I don't know what's wrong with me. And nobody told me that your cycles can be attributed to depression and things like that. And that's why another reason I created the boxes, because I had told my girls at a young age, if you ever start feeling depressed, we can help. There's essential oils, there's herbs to help balance your hormones. And nobody told me that. And so I felt like I went through that all alone. Nobody explained the emotional aspect that you were going through with all your body changes.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know if it was our mothers or that were like that, or if it's like just a different era. My mom didn't really talk about a lot of these things either. So I'm not sure. Maybe it was something that they talked about less back then.
Yeah, I definitely think it's more open now with all the commercials and everything. But I just remember when I was younger, it wasn't very open. And when a commercial came on TV and you had friends over or a boyfriend, you about died when the commercial came on. But the next item is a PMS bath soap. And I don't think there's anything better for cramping and backache than a nice soak in the tub. And so I think I've included magnesium in this also, which that's what the Epsom salt has in it. And then the little bottle containing the essential oils you dump in the tub also. But there's like 5
Oh,
different essential oils in there.
I
And the
see.
reason I did that is because at first I put the essential oils in the salt and it was overpowering the smell of the box. And I didn't want
Oh,
people's tea to smell like it, and I didn't want them to lose their effectiveness. So I decided just to ship it in a little bitty bottle, and that way it kept their potency. So they'll
hmm,
still be really useful.
that's a great idea.
So you can see that it has everything to make you feel comfortable and smell good and balance your hormones and make you happy.
Yeah. It's so thoughtful. I just love how it all came together. And I mean, I'm telling you, I think it is the perfect way to open the door on this conversation. So, for all of the moms out there listening, if you've been dreading that conversation, this is a great way to actually have that conversation, get it out in the open. I had it with my daughter and using the box, and it was just lovely. I mean, it was so much
Oh,
easier. It wasn't as bad as I had been, putting it in my mind. I had like made it into this, I don't want to do this. But it just,
right,
it took the pressure off and it made it a
right,
celebration. And so it was so much
right.
better. So thank you so much for sending me
I'm
that.
so glad. That makes me so happy. Well, I think that during your children's lifetime, you look for opportunities to make them feel special. And this was one of the ways that I bonded with my girls.
Mm.
And, with having 4 girls, there was, and me, 5 of us girls in the house, there was always somebody that was on their cycle. And I think I told you this, but I started this business after all of my girls had started. Like this has been a trial and error because I've had a lot of girls come through my home and I've experimented on a lot of them. And when my daughters bring friends over and somebody's like, oh, I'm not feeling very good, I started my period, I just get excited. I'm like, oh, good, you came to the right place. Come back here and I'll get you fixed up. And I just spoil them and I make them tea. And by the time they're leaving, they feel better. They use the cramp balm. And I just really like sending them home with a little care package. But my fourth born daughter, with my 3 older ones, I do remember making a very big deal about it. We went out to eat and we talked about them becoming a woman. Then I feel like it probably got a little bit too heavy of a conversation when I wish I would have just had a box to make it more like fun and celebration.
Yeah.
And so my fourth born daughter, I had gone in their bathroom one day and I saw products out and I said, well, who's on their cycle? And they told me it was my younger daughter. And so I went to her and I said, when did you start? And she's like, I don't know, months ago. And I said, why didn't you tell me? And she said, because I didn't think it was a big deal. And it was just because it was so talked about in our home. It was just a normal body function. It was just something that happened to women. But I felt guilty that I missed the opportunity to make it as a celebration. And I want to celebrate being a woman is a very special thing. We are the only species out of the humans that are able to birth life, give life. And it's just a very special thing. And so I want to celebrate being a woman and be proud of how we're different from guys. And so that's why I wanted to make it as girly as I could and just make them be proud that they are a woman and look forward to the different seasons.
Yeah, I think that's really important because I know that like you have some girls that are more athletic and they don't really like girly stuff. And then you have girls who like love girly stuff and they want everything to be girly. But, in this area, I think that's a really important way to look at it is that it is exclusively a girly thing. So,
Right.
and I'm sure all of your daughter's friends were like, oh, I got my period. I want to go to Miss Koval's house.
Yeah. We can all just congregate over here and drink our PMS tea.
And your husband's probably like Estrogen University over here.
Yeah. And I think my boys are going to be the best husbands ever because they know. And even my oldest son, he was taking his girlfriend some snacks because she was on her cycle. And so already just teaching them to be sensitive, and understand that, yeah, we might be a little bit grouchier at this time. So just be a little more patient with us.
Mm-hmm. Well, what kind of tips do you have for moms? Say once they get this box, what kind of tips do you have for them about having a conversation about their daughter or with their daughter about how this is going to get started and what to expect and everything? What can moms do? Say someone has never had this conversation, but they have, a 9 or a 10-year-old daughter, and they're thinking, I want her to be prepared. So give us some ideas of what we could say.
Well, I would think of making the whole time special. To think
Mhm.
about what your daughter likes to do. I mean, does she like to go out and eat, or does she like a special meal? Or even if you knew that nobody else was going to be in the home but you and her, just trying to make it a special time. And the way that the mom approaches it is going to affect how the girl will view it. And so if the mom is excited and approaches her and say, I have something very exciting to share with you, and this is an exciting season that you're entering into, and this is the beginning of you becoming a woman, and I want to teach you how to take care of yourself. I want you to be able to come and talk to me about the changes, because all of these things are normal, and even the emotions that she might feel. I remember my husband coming in the kitchen one day, and one of my daughters just sitting there drying dishes, crying. And he said, what's the matter? And she said, nothing, and, letting them know it's okay. You might cry for no reason. You might experience a short temper, but letting them know that when you feel that way, turn to herbs to help relax you and calm you down, just so you understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think approaching it that way, like it's exciting, commemorate them going into womanhood, and then going over the things in the box, and even explaining to your daughter why you chose this box, because you want their body to be healthy. You want them to take care of themselves because they'll feel better. And even start talking to them a little bit about how important it is to avoid caffeine and sugar, that can make your mood swings worse. And even different things can make your cramps worse.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's really good advice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your future boxes that you come up with. That'll be fun. Well, Shannon, thank you so much for taking the time
Thank you for
to
having me.
tell us about this. I just think it's so wonderful. I'm so happy that you came up with this. I've never seen anything like it, and it's something that we've been needing for a long time. So can you tell us your website address where people can go and order these boxes?
Yes, they can go to www.seasonsofsisters.com, and they can order directly from the website. And then there's a couple of blogs on there. I'm going to have an advice column that is going to be titled Aunt Flo Says. And so it's just going to be like sitting down with your aunt, having a conversation. And maybe that could also be a reference for moms to use on different topics that they want to talk about with their daughters as well.
And so people can send you their questions and you'll answer them on Aunt Flo's column?
Yeah. Aunt Flo Says.
Aunt Flo Says. I love that idea. Oh my goodness. You're full of great ideas, Shannon. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Please rate and review so other people can learn about this podcast. Find out more about sleep, hygiene, eating healthy, tasty recipes, zero-waste lifestyle, and lots more on thatorganicmom.com. Help us spread the word. Be blessed and stay healthy.